how on earth did WPATH get the power that it has? So let's go back to the beginning. WPATH was founded by a man named Harry Benjamin, Dr. Harry Benjamin. Who is Harry Benjamin? Well, Harry Benjamin was, I hate to even call him a doctor because I think he's the definition of an evil doctor. He's someone who abused medical science to mutilate bodies for his own titillation. Dr. Harry Benjamin was actually a contemporary of John Money. John Money was the doctor who transed kids who actually ended up killing themselves. John Money was famous for the Reimer twins experiment, where these babies, these infants, were twin boys, were circumcised. One of them suffered a botched circumcision, had his penis damaged to the point that his penis had to be removed. And John Money suggested to the parents, well, why don't you surgically and hormonally transition this little boy into a girl, raise him as if it's a girl, and he'll never know. So John Money was in charge of that horrific experiment, which failed completely. First of all, Bruce Reimer, who was the baby who lost his penis, who was transed by this doctor and the parents, ended up having severe psychological distress being raised a boy, being raised a girl, not even knowing that he was actually a boy. His parents ended up telling him when he was in high school or when he was an adolescent that this happened. He detransitioned from a girl into a boy, but he suffered such severe mental health issues that he ended up committing suicide in his late 30s. His twin also committed suicide by overdosing on drugs. And these children were severely sexually abused by John Money. He showed them pornography when they were 6 years old. He made them simulate performing sex acts on each other. He had them strip out of their clothes for genital inspections, he called them, and he took photos of them while they were naked. When I say classic sexual abuse, I mean horrific sexual abuse, but it's classic behavior of sexual abusers. This is exactly what sexual abusers do. John Money was a sexual abuser. However, the importance of this story, aside from the tragedy of the thing, the tragedy of the humanity of the thing, is that John Money lied about the observation of these twins over the course of their lifetime. He lied about it to the medical community. And it was because of John Money and his transing of one of these twin boys that sex change, whether it's hormonal, social, surgery, that it became an accepted medical thing because John Money lied about the results of this experiment. If he had actually told the truth about what happened, maybe we wouldn't even be dealing with what we're dealing with today. This might not be an accepted thing in our nation. The medical community might outright reject it, but it was too late by the time the medical community discovered the truth. It was already ingrained in their standard of care that this could be done, that you could socially, hormonally, and surgically transition someone from the quote-unquote sex that was assigned to them at birth, and that everything turned out fine, that doctors could actually play God and determine someone's sex based on outside interventions. Dr. Harry Benjamin, the founder of WPATH, was a contemporary of John Money. He actually worked with John Money. They met on a monthly basis, and patients of Dr. Harry Benjamin, he referred to John Money, who founded a gender clinic at Johns Hopkins University. Dr. Harry Benjamin was also associated with Alfred Kinsey. You might recognize this name from the very famous Kinsey reports. Alfred Kinsey is a sexologist. A sexologist, oftentimes it seems like sexologists are individuals who have sexual perversions, who are simply trying to use the power and the influence of the fact that they have a doctor prefix in front of their name to make it medically, culturally, socially acceptable. That's certainly the case with Alfred Kinsey. He told his coworkers that they should actively engage in as many sex acts as possible so that they relate to their patients, and as perverted of sexual behavior as they possibly can. He himself filmed sex acts with coworkers in the attic of his home. He was bisexual in an open marriage. He had sex with young men who were his students. Alfred Kinsey was sympathetic, if not outright accepting, of pedophilia. Alfred Kinsey wrote reports on children having orgasms as young as infants a couple of months old. And he based this quote-unquote research on interviews that he conducted with a pedophile. And yet this was accepted by the medical community as being legitimate medical research. This man was a pervert in his personal life. He was a quack in the medical field. He was dangerous and he was evil. And he was associated with Dr. Harry Benjamin, the founder of WPATH. So you can see the underpinnings of this organization, how it was corrupted from the beginning by John Money, an evil quack who ushered in the idea that doctors can perform sex changes on people, and Alfred Kinsey, who sexualized children. Suddenly, the recommendations in WPATH's standard of care make a lot more sense, don't they? This is the underpinning of the entire organization. So fast forward to today, Dr. Harry Benjamin is long dead. But who does WPATH as an organization consult? Who are the experts that they rely on for the recommendations in this standard of care document? A feminist blog called Redux conducted an investigation that they published in May of 2022. I'm going to post a link to their full investigation on Locals. You can find that. I'll post it for free for anybody who wants to go over there. You don't have to be a VIP. You can just go over there and click on the link if you want to see their full investigation. Redux conducted an investigation and found that WPATH consulted members of a forum, an online forum, and this forum is called the Eunuch Archive. What is the Eunuch Archive? The Eunuch Archive is a sexual fetish forum that focuses on castration. So the sexual fetish of the sickos who are members of this group, they get their jollies by either being castrated themselves or by castrating others, including castrating children. When I say there's an element of pedophilia in this, Redux got access to the VIP part, not just the public part, but the VIP part of the Eunuch Archive, and found that they have a section called the Fiction Archives, where people post, members of this forum post their sexual fantasies. In these sexual fantasies posted on the Eunuch Archives, Fiction Archives section, there are fantasies of sexual abuse of children. In fact, you can choose what category of fantasy you'd like to read, and one of the categories is minors. The president of WPATH approached longtime members of the Eunuch Archive Castration Fetish Forum to consult on the standard of care for people whose supposed gender identity is a eunuch. Three of these forum members were invited by WPATH to speak on the eunuch gender identity. And these Eunuch Archive Castration Forum members are cited by WPATH in their standard of care. This is sick, sick stuff. This standard of care is being embraced by our medical community. It's being foisted on doctors who, against their will, are forced to adhere to these standards or else risk the liability of a lawsuit of not providing care that is the standard of care for quote-unquote gender diverse individuals.